Hi everybody, welcome back to School of Scarlett. Today I have a topic to share with you that I find very important. You might find yourself in a situation where it's hard for you to keep a 9 to 5, or you found that hard to do in the past. Maybe you have a hard time keeping work and you find yourself unemployed at the moment. Today's message is for you. So today's message really is about how you aren't actually meant to work. What if I told you that you weren't actually meant to work a traditional job, 9 to 5? We're going to go into that here today in today's message and kind of go all around full circle. This is a topic that I know a lot about and I can relate to as being also very sensitive and also coming across a lot of these things that we're going to be discussing here today. So you might identify with being an empath. You might identify with being sensitive. You might identify with being neurodivergent or an INFJ or a more sensitive type that's more intuitive. And so because of that, we have a different way of being really. So we function a little bit different when it comes to work. And while some people might be able to work a whole 8 hours, what ends up happening for us is that we work more in spurts. We work more in like different flows that happen. And for us to work a whole straight 8 hours is actually really hard. We do better at certain times of the day for certain amounts of time. And so because of that, it makes it very hard for us to extend our energy for 8 hours all at once. It can be very draining. It can feel very suffocating. And at the end of the day, we aren't able to perform in a way that's sustainable to our being doing that type of work. So it's not that you're not meant to work altogether, but you're not meant to work a job like traditional society says. 9 to 5, 8 to 5, or whatever it is, sitting in an office setting is really hard to do. I know when I first got my first job working in an office, I worked in a cubicle with fluorescent lighting. And it was so hard for me to stay there the whole 8 hours. It was almost soul draining. I never really had such an experience of wanting to leave. It felt like a prison. And so over time, I began to learn, when I switched jobs and was able to try different things, what worked best for me. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that here today. So knowing that you work more in spurts, that you have like certain hours of the day that work best for you, it's important to identify what time of the day works best for you. Do you work better in the morning? Do you work better in the evening or at night? And so identifying that and giving yourself almost like a time limit of, okay, I work well for about 2 hours and then I need a break. So keeping that in mind. Also, what kinds of professions are you going to get into? What kind of line of work? So generally, some of the jobs that offer a little bit more flexibility to align to the flow of your work are jobs like creative jobs, artistic jobs, where you create something, where you work in the arts, whether that's music, something artistic like drawing, painting, creating, graphic art, something like that, writing. All of those are in the creative arts. The other area that really allows for some more space for you to create your own schedule and work with those spurts and times of day that work best for you is working in service. So in service to others in the capacity of like counseling, massage, anything where someone schedules an appointment, you can schedule those appointments around your spurts and your times of days that work best. So any kind of service work where you're providing a service where you're mostly the boss, where you're mostly the one who creates your schedule and allows people to sign up for those times. So that allows you to be able to create your own schedule, but still see people, still be of service to people in those times that are best for you. So even working in jobs like that, they are draining still. So you're going to need to rest after maybe a couple sessions with someone. Allow yourself to schedule in some time to rest. Lots of people feel, guilty and shame that they have to rest or something like that. Have no shame and allow yourself to recharge just like you would recharge your phone. Give yourself that resting time for the next time that you have to work. So totally recharge, yourself. So the other thing is nature work. Work where you're working out in nature, where you're working, maybe at a campsite, or maybe you do tours, or maybe you do something like, gardening or working at a garden center or something like that. Nature jobs can be very good for empaths and sensitive people that have a hard time keeping the 8 or 9 to 5 jobs. This allows a little more flexibility, but it also doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like you're staying at the same place. Things are kind of changing. So that kind of leads me to the next thing. The next kind of job that is really good is seasonal work. So work where you work certain seasons. Or even for myself, I know when I did teaching, we had the summers off. So we had like June and July off, or parts of May and June and July. And this would give time to recharge, to do some of the other things that I wanted to do. So seasonal work, or time where you have a job for a little while and then you have some time off, can be very, very helpful for people that are more sensitive or need more time to recharge. So these kinds of jobs are really good to look for. I know for me, like I said, I had an office job, but it wasn't aligning to me. So one of the things that I looked for in every job that I went to go work is that it had a work from home option. So flexible jobs that have a work from home option or a flexible job option. So my jobs a lot of times were hybrid. I would go into the office part of the time, and part of the time I would be at home, or part of the time I'd be out servicing clients, at their homes or whatever for counseling. And this worked really well for me. It created a good balance for me. So every time I would look for a job, I would look for a job that had something similar to this, because I knew that that worked for me. I also really enjoyed jobs where things change. So counseling and teaching, it's not the same every day. You have different clients, but even if you have the same clients, it's always something different that is happening. So a lot of times for us, we get bored in mundane jobs. So also looking to see, do you require a more exciting kind of changing everyday sort of job? And if so, look for that. And if you experience that you prefer a more mundane or kind of rote kind of job where everything is sort of the same every day, look for that. You will know with your nervous system what feels better to you when you start trying these things out. So over time of working, I worked at different places, some which aligned to me, some which did not. At some point, it just didn't work at all anymore. It didn't feel good to go into work for someone else. So at some point, unemployment is almost going to be inevitable for you. You're going to find yourself in a space where either you are retiring, you are choosing to leave work altogether, you are starting your own business, or you're just being pushed out of work and you find yourself unemployed at this time. So unemployment does not mean that you are a failure. It just means that you're opening up some more space for something different to happen as far as work. So for me, when I found myself unemployed, it gave me a space to kind of think. Did I want to go back to the sort of jobs I was doing? And I really didn't. Did I want to start something on my own? And this gave the space for me to do that. And when I began to do that, I began to see the benefits of that. For most empaths, people that are sensitive, meaning is more important than money usually. So yes, we all need money to live, but as long as most of our basic needs and things are taken care of, if we can provide meaning in this world or do something that means something to us, that kind of trumps and overrides a lot of other things. So finding something that you align with and brings meaning to you and brings meaning to others is really important when it comes to people that are empaths and sensitives. So I know that for me, that was the case, and it did require a pay cut. And the thing about it is you can experience a pay cut as you're unemployed or as you're just starting a business. But over time, you have more of a capacity to earn more money being your own boss than you do working somewhere 9 to 5 where you have a set salary that you can't really change. So I know working in social work and teaching, it was a set salary. You might have a little raise, and it was like a 25-cent raise or something like that, very small. But working for yourself, it's really unlimited. It just depends on how many people you're servicing and how you are doing that. So don't think that working for yourself is always going to be a pay cut. It could eventually turn around to be something very, very lucrative for you. So allow yourself to see that starting a business, whether it's your own little service business of any kind, it's just the same as starting any other business. I know that my daughter, she's in high school, she's taking a business class. And in the business class, they teach them that for the first 3 years, there is really no profits. Now, I don't want to limit you or program you to that, but I just want you to know that even if you didn't make a whole lot in those first 3 years, it's okay. Eventually, as being your own business owner, you will begin to grow if that is a profitable business and it's in demand and you love it and all of these things. So don't worry so much about the income as long as your needs are taken care of and you have meaning over money in the beginning. Align your heart to it, put your heart and soul into it, and work when you feel inspired. Allow yourself to create a flow around your work that works for you well. And so these are some of the things I wanted to share with you. We could go more and more into different tips and things, but that is essentially what I wanted to share about how you're not really meant to work. You're meant to work, but for yourself in a different sense, not the traditional sense or the society norm that is out there. You are meant to work in a different way, a way that works with you, a way that flows with you, a way that you can create your own space, your own work environment that feels comfortable to you, that feels aligned to you, where you feel safe, where your nervous system is aligned and you can produce, even if it is in spurts, you can produce the things that are aligned to your heart and that you're most good at and you can offer this world. So I encourage you today to follow your heart and do the type of work that aligns to your heart. If you're an empath, a sensitive, a neurodivergent, something like that, and you would like help partnering with me on a one-on-one session to help you to do some of these things, feel free to check out my description where I have how to schedule a one-on-one session and course offerings. I would love to work with you. If you are new here, I want to welcome you to my channel, welcome you to subscribe to my channel and to come back. Hit that notification bell and I would love for you to come back to my channel. For all my returning viewers, thank you so much for being here, for supporting me, for commenting, for sharing, all of those things. I appreciate it all. I love you and I will catch you on our next video.